He koe tala e, a ʻOfa mama e, he fala ne fola I e mala e, o ika I koi, ka koe a hoe, te ri ana a whaia I hae. Malolei pia malomo e taulawa ki he whiawhini. Kai ngā Tonga katoa pēr, mo mea mai ki he polokalamani, ko e Fala Talks, episode 2. Gogo hingoa, ko Soane Golden Mouth, mutu kaula tātou la Pusiaki ko au, and I am the host for tonight. Welcome, talo Faiva, Pula Vinaka, and all island greetings to everyone. Thank you for tuning in.
Up the wires.
Yo.
Churi.
Talofa.
How was everyone's today?
Yeah.
I feel like I haven't seen you guys since yesterday.
Yeah. Feels like it's been forever.
What's something islander that happened to someone today?
Something islander that happened.
Yeah, like something fresh, like that wasn't supposed to happen. Like today, I went to the petrol station, thought I had my FPOS card, and ended up being the Smiles card.
Did you manage to get some gas?
Yes, I did. Lucky for Google Pay.
Oh, okay. Kukolo Pay.
Kukolo Pay, yeah.
Whakalaka pito.
Ko teke no sia.
Well,
Full night there.
Yeah,
well, all I've eaten today is FMF crackers.
that's it.
Oh, that's
I think.
fresh, eh?
Mabakbakoi.
Yeah.
Shout out to the flour mills of Fiji.
You know, talking about that, we had hui moa, toi moa, chicken frame soup.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
It's Tongan.
That
That is Tongan.
struggle food.
So I'm saying it's Tongan.
What about you, Ken?
I had a lamb curry.
Oh,
Yeah, beautiful.
that's
yes.
rich Tongan.
So right now, yeah. Every now and then, yeah, you have a real Tongan meal. Yeah, good for the old school people like me.
Yeah.
Should we crack on, eh?
Yeah, well, I think we've got a big piece of pie
To devour.
to chop
Well,
up to.
it was PolyFest on the weekend.
Yeah, Pasifika as well.
PolyFest,
Yeah.
Pasifika. So, what was it? How's Tongan stage this year, Toko? Seeing as you're a resident Punake?
If I give it a wrap up
Yeah.
of PolyFest 2026, I think it's shout out to the kids and the students, shout out to the parents, because there's a lot of hard work that goes in. I'm doing a lot of ngahi te unga at like 2 a.m. in the morning. That is all good, but I think looking towards the future of PolyFest, Tongan Stage 2000, Tongan Stage, it is a bit grim. Like it is going to be like really, really hard. For instance, Punakas that have that bloodline and Punakas that are not from the bloodline, because there's only a few of us that's from that bloodline. And then there was a criteria this year that got brought up, wha'u and ma'imoa together. So if you weren't able to wha'u, you'd dip into the ma'imoa catalogue. Yeah, so that's with me. I wha'u because I'm from that bloodline. So and have that catalogue, have that that wide variety of
So for
catalogue.
those non-Tongan listeners,
Huh?
what is, for the non-Tongan listeners, what is the difference between wha'u and ma'imoa?
So a wha'u is composed by yourself, your own composition. The other word is whatu. And ta'anga, which is your own lyrics. Yeah. So composing your own lyrics, and to be combined into that one word called the Punake word. The Punake.
So what is it, Ken, again? There's, you need to whauhiva.
Yeah, there are three elements to being a Punake. In the first, like you mentioned, Soane, that's being able to compose the lyrics, so fatu ta'anga. And secondly, you got to give it melodies or the music, the whakawhasi. And the last aspect of it is to give it the choreography, the movement. And that is whakahaka.
Yeah.
So whatu, whakawhasi, whakahaka. And if you achieve those three elements, then you're called a Punake. And of course, it was a bit controversial what Mele Suipi Whakatawa Latu said during the prize giving ceremony.
What did my auntie say this year? What did she do?
Well, she came out strong and advocated for the Punake to be able to achieve those three elements. And I agree because, let's say, PolyFest has been going for 51 years. Huh? I was one of those in the beginning, and I went to school in Mangere. I went to school at Ngā Tapua College, they're called.
Yeah.
I think they changed it to Southern Cross. But back in the 80s, we had none other than the legendary Penny Tutu'ila. Yeah. And Penny Tutu'ila would go further than just teaching us. Huh? He would sit us down and tell us stories of history, and also he made sure that we understood the importance of tauwhatunga mo Tou'a, which again some people just use the word tuku whakaholo, you know, traditions. So we as old school, we knew about the importance of that. And then, 51 years later, this even happened 20 years ago.
Yeah.
The focus now is on the competition.
Yeah.
Back then, the focus was on participation and the celebration of our Tongan culture.
Right. Yo.
Now, it's different.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those that, again, I'm old school. I prefer to keep it like a celebration, not so much focus on the competition. But that's me, old school. How about you guys, new school?
No, what about because you guys have had more experience with PolyFest, because I never got to perform at PolyFest.
Yeah.
I literally only show up to take photos, and if you'll pay me, then I'll come and work for you. But yeah,
To me, as a Punake, I'd like it to be like the old school way, because it grounds the kids into not into rivalry. I think, and it's very important if you some schools already have that rivalry. But when it comes to PolyFest, it's another step up of them
more
being
reason
and another reason to everyone to cause trouble. I think, and being thankful that there hasn't been any trouble on the Tongan stage. We don't know, but like in the old school way, I think participation and celebration and just being able to come together as a culture. To be, because there wasn't that many schools, but then you guys all came together as a community, I think, and that was the closeness that everyone had. What the things that Kennedy said about the comments of Auntie Mele Sweepy, there are some things that came up on that, and it's very hard for Punakes now, because there was a comment that said that if you don't have enough people for the kauhiva or the poloto hiva or the langi toa, that's the singers that are normally in the background of your Faiva. It doesn't make the Faiva Māori, so you don't get that. You don't get to have that massive ke tawelangi, that last, that thing. So then your Faiva gets to a stage where it's really, really mawhana, and that you can't be able to hold that. So, and partial part, that's true. Like in New Zealand, it's very hard because, like in Tonga, you have a whole village, and it's easy for the langi toa, And here it's like really, really hard to think. So there were some schools that got penalised with that, what Mele Sweepy said. There was another comment on saying that if you wha'o, make sure it's wha'oed from ground up, Like
Like
you know,
original.
original, everything original. Like fussy, everything.
There's only select few fussy that,
I know.
you know.
But to me, it's like very. She contradicts herself on that because on her first composition, she uses her father's
Yeah.
music, and she says that in the actual video.
Yeah.
So you can't tell me now that she's not still using it with the with everything that she's doing because like.
Well, the thing with, whāo and Mā'i Moa, and you as a Punake, like, wouldn't that put extra stress on you? Because what you did, 2 schools this year, right?
Yeah, 2 schools.
Yeah.
Like a COVID, like
Yeah.
3 schools, but
Yeah,
2 favors. Yeah.
Like, because you can't just turn around and, there's Punake left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
Like, so then if the pressure's on, like, for the competitive part, we want to compete, that means you have to whāo,
Yeah.
right? And you can't just turn around and wake up one morning and be like, I want to compose a whole laka from beginning to end. I mean, some can,
Yeah.
but that just adds extra pressure on you.
Yeah.
And then, like, I think it's unfair,
Yeah.
putting all that pressure on, like, Punake to perform like that. But
Yeah.
also that's for the love of the culture, I believe.
Yeah. But like I said, like there is going to be, for the future, it's going to be hard to find. Example, there was a school that allowed a Punake to do 2 schools where they're not allowed to, but it got allowed from the committee to let them Punake. But, and then they did the Faiva and everything, but the whole fact was there was a rule saying you can't do 2 schools. So the committee allowed this.
So they're literally just like
Yeah.
making the rules and breaking and bending them on their own.
Exactly.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah.
There's some free rules, my show.
Look, I think there's a Tongan saying, "Veveuki kelelei," yeah? Disrupt to improve.
Yeah.
And I always push for that. Now, what I'm hearing is this: there's a problem. Now we need to solve it.
Yeah.
And how do we solve it? We can start with the Fala talks.
Yeah.
Roll out the med, have a decent talanoa,
Yeah.
and let's continue with this even in the future,
Yeah.
even offline.
Yeah.
We can push for like a phono or like a community meeting.
Yeah.
And let's all come together, not just the students and the parents, but get other community leaders and even
'cause-
those in the space of funding.
Because it impacts all of us.
Yeah.
Because, sorry to introduce my reo, but we are kaitiaki of the culture.
Right.
Definitely. We are the custodians of it, and we also get to dictate where it goes in the future.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. Sorry to interrupt. See, I only found out recently that there were a few of the Faivas, Tawa'alo, Hiko, and Milolua. There was only one school doing the Tawa'alo. There was also only one school doing the Hiko. And again with the Milolua, only one school was doing that. Now, if the current committee is pushing for, let's say, this more of a focus on competition, how is it a fair competition when you only have one school to take out the first prize? Tawa'alo, I guess Manuela took it out because there was only one school.
Yeah.
Hiko, Papatoe High took it out because there was only one school they're doing it. And again with Milolua, Kia Aroha campus took it out. Now, where is that fairness of a platform for the so-called fe'auhi or competition when there's only one school? They get the first prize. They get all the glory. But there was only one school in the competition.
And then when it comes to like Maulu'ulu and Laka, it's like...
There's 8 of them.
Yes.
8 of them. And then the Tauwhanua, there's 6 of them.
Yeah.
Just by Tauwhanua, you don't need to whāo.
Yeah.
Kailao, you don't need to whāo. So that makes it easier for them, for the new tutors or the new Punakas that are coming through, so they'll grab onto that. so okay, you don't need to whao maharanga whai o rea be kehe, like, because o kunofo so okay, yeah, like, with the original, te uheke, like that, or something like that. They have to stay with that. Ta tāua be my whaiola and everything. But, yeah, I think, like, it's you know, that's what it comes down to, the committee. Like, that, and also, I think, having that meeting together with the punakas and the new tutors that are coming through and understanding where their bloodlines lie. I think, like, you know, for instance, my bloodline lies through La Paha, Tatagamo Tonga. So, you know, Set Valongolongo, like, and Kolovai, like, Fola Osi, I have a tip in there. Like, you know, so those are my 4 catalogues that I can dip in because I have a right. There's someone in there, my thing that made the tunes in there, you know. So I have a right to dip into it. And when people say you're not allowed because that's not yours, it kind of raises my, and that's why we're bringing it out to the Fala.
So it's good to be educated. To know.
Yeah.
Sorry. Soane, are you saying that they penalize you for using your like your forefathers or your father or your grandfather's compositions? I think that is wrong.
Yeah.
Because you are allowed to use the so-called bloodlines material. How is it that they can penalize you for using your own? I mean, it is not right to penalize you for using something that's been in the Pusiaki or the Lomi Peau lines. No? So again, you know, back to the so-called committee. I think it's time for them to resign. Let new people come in and fix the problem, because again, I don't like to continue with the status quo for too long. You know? I'm more of like a disruptor.
Yeah.
If they're pretty much kind of like haven't solved these problems, you know, step down. Let others come in and do it. You know, why can't you know, do that? Because we need to be humble enough to accept that there's a problem and say to yourself, oh, maybe it's time for me to you know, take a hike and then let others come in and do it. You know, I mean, that's the way I roll, and you know, I do know that I'm going to be hammered. I'm going for saying this.
I've got a question though, right? Because I did so much PolyFest when I went to Mount Albert Grammar School.
I could so tell.
I know, right?
The Lions,
right? Like
Max,
for that whole
Max.
5 years, we went to PolyFest once, and I didn't end up going. But that's because I was in hospital. But that's besides the point.
Yeah.
Who picks what Faiva each group performs? Is it just up to the Punake, or is it like leaders and teacher and stuff?
Yeah, it's up to the schools pick, and then we give them an idea of how it's gonna look for them. So if you got like a school that there's only like 10 people and they want to do a laka, obviously you cannot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you cannot do that.
Yeah.
But and then you got like a school that's got a lot more thing, and then you can be able to the options open up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So imagine if you...
Sorry.
Sorry.
You go ahead, Mary.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I feel like you guys have just been talking.
Man, we apologize.
No, I'm kidding. I'm just saying,
apologize.
in the sense of that, right? You know how they give you a whole list of like the favors to do. Would it change if you guys, if the committee was like, okay, each school perform a laka or a ma ulu, and that's like base.
Yeah.
Now we're talking.
So then everything is even. And then after that, do like a free of your own choice.
Yeah.
It would have been a fair...
I thought that's how it was though.
Yeah, it is. But it should come down, like I've already said, to just one favour. To aggregate favour to only because there's two.
Yeah.
But like whainga ta'a forget to to o apia ko mea, or like single sex schools. Like they wouldn't be able to do a laka. You know, so I think that's the reason why they open it up for the Māori.
Yeah, they're just using our law.
Yeah.
I mean, in that way, they need to also consider, like, besides all of, committee and, like, our poor Punake is getting bashed with, and they're putting all this time and effort.
Yep.
But they also need to also consider, like, is there actually any change with these the rivals between the schools? Like, do something to make it unite.
Yeah.
Like, and, let these kids embrace their cultures instead of,
Properly.
instead of, like, oh, your school's going to win and you're better, Oh, you guys have the best tānafa people or whatever. Things like that. It causes... And they're like young teens, man. And they're just feeding the fire. I don't think they realise that. That's just my input.
Can I jump in here?
Yeah.
And I think we need to touch on the history of the Faiva Whakatonga. Yeah? Because even though we call it Faiva Whakatonga, we borrowed a lot of our stuff, The original one, from what I've looked into it, is the main one is the laka laka. That is a Tongan original.
That sounds quintessentially Tongan.
Yep. And again, it goes back to the 1860s, and the missionaries got involved, and even the history of it. It kind of started off with something that was called a me'elau fola, and it was more the origin of laka laka was more educational than being entertainment. Eventually, it became entertainment, but the missionaries from the La Masa, or the London Missionary Society, had an influence. But the others, like let's say Maululu, now we borrowed that from Samoa. Of course we adapted it.
Yep.
And also the Ta'olunga. We also borrowed that from Samoa. I'm not just saying this because I have heritage from Safata and Upol, guys.
No, it's
Come
true.
on.
Yeah,
Just,
no.
I'm starting to think like you're being biased.
Look,
but
I'm being honest, and I'm telling it like it is.
yeah.
The Kailao from Uvea.
Uvea.
Uvea, yeah? And also the Taufaniwa Mako. Again, we borrowed it. So again, the original one is Laka Laka, and I gotta take it to, I gotta take my hat off to people who are brave enough to fa'u. Fa'u is like original.
Yeah.
And it's hard. And while we're talking about fa'u, which leads to the word punake, as Mele Sweepy claimed, you're gonna do the three elements: compose, give it some musical melodies, and then choreography. Yeah. And then you have the right to be called a punake. And then I got questioned about how about those who are not doing original. So I said, look, just call yourself a teacher or a tutor. Whaiako, because tutor. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But again, the current committee of the Tongan village, they have not been able to work that out. It's not rocket science, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Mele Sweepy is right.
Yeah.
We got to hold on to our culture, right? What's wrong with being called whaiako or a tutor for all the other Faivas that does not involve the three elements, of composing the lyrics,
And the,
music behind it, and then the movements. So again, I agree with what Mele Sweepy have claimed, in that I'm old school, and I also support what was handed down to us old school students from Peni Tutu'ila.
yeah. No, yeah.
Because there was also a post that came out.
That's
Right.
I wanted to talk about that because
Yeah.
it's like that's something that some Punakes have been through.
Do you want me to read it? I'll read it out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
So this person, we haven't got permission to. We should have got permission.
Oh, good.
Should.
Shoulda,
well.
coulda, woulda.
It is what it is.
But it's out anyways.
Yeah,
it's
it's
a
out.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the post goes, it's a photo of a Tongan PolyFest group about to go up and perform, I believe.
Yeah.
And it reads like this. This photo carries a lot. For over 30 years, February and March, sometimes even January, meant living in and out of schools, Monday to Saturday, rushing from school to schools, work to schools and back again, giving our time to students, parents and teachers because we loved Faiva. PolyFest gave us so much, new relationships, new family connections, and the joy of watching students fall in love with Faiva the same way we did. But behind the stage lights were long nights, hard practices, and expectations that slowly changed. Instructions, demands, timelines. Sometimes it felt less like sharing culture and more like working a job. This photo holds the beautiful memories, but it also holds the trauma of hard conversations that came with it. What used to feel like friendly competition slowly turned into rivalry. Social media made it worse, pitting schools and even Punakes against each other. Somewhere along the way, the love of Faiva started getting measured by placements. So he stepped away from the board. Not out of bitterness, but out of purpose. We chose to create our own space, a place to teach Faiva whakatonga, where our kids don't need a ranking to feel proud of who they are. Where the love of Faiva is enough. To every Punake who has carried this work for years, we see you. We know the sacrifice. It has never been easy. But sometimes the strongest move you can make is to stop playing the game. Checkmate.
Word. That's deep, man. That's deep. Got it.
Yeah, so like, as your guys, like, what would you say? Like,
I feel like just, tell me that there's an issue going without telling me there's an issue. Kind of the thing. It's like probably something that needs to be addressed, because I don't think the committee or whoever it is, that is in charge realizes the sweat and efforts that are put behind, only to be pushed back or be, or whatever it is. I can't really pinpoint, but just my thoughts.
Yeah, I think coming through the works, the years of being a Punake and stuff, and shout out to the person who put that post out. Like I think the committee don't look after the Punakes enough, I think. Or I don't know. I think being a Punake is a God-given talent and everything, but like there could be some things that we could be able to be, like, because there's before there was old men that couldn't walk around, like they couldn't thing. They were given parking to be parking outside, and then you've got ASB sponsorship parking right next to the stage. You got this old Punake guy walking out from the car park.
Yeah.
And trying to get in, and it's pouring
Carrying
down,
their
carrying
instruments,
their instruments and everything, and
that's
their
true.
stuff, and not giving them. There's plenty of places where the Punake could have came in easier, or there's, 6 nuffers and there's 1 lali, and the Teunga Tālonga, his wife is probably the one that makes the Teunga Tālongas and everything in there. It's not. We don't want to get treated VIP, but. To make things easier for us, I think on the stage and in the process of us doing that.
If I could recall, there was a time where I felt like the judging was based on the performance only.
Yeah.
And it wasn't on how a Punake taught the Faiva. And there was a time where I felt like the committee was the Punakes and the committee and the judges. Like it was like that, one. But now, just hearing these coming out of place, like, getting pulled out, obviously there's a lot of putting people into place where they feel like, oh no.
I mean, even with the judging, you got a guy that's got like a doctor and something else. You got a sponsor, ASB sponsorship thing. Been doing it for years, but they've got no clue about Faiva. The people. There's an old man there that says he's the guy that's crowned, that's been knighted from ʻOfa, that's given him the authority of the talo o Tonga.
From ʻOfa.
Yeah.
That's 2 kings ago.
Yeah. So, you know,
Talo Tonga, sorry.
a tala o
Oh,
Tonga.
tala.
Tonga. Okay.
Tradition.
So
Yeah,
he
yeah.
knows
So,
everything.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Does
But-
he?
No, but he does. He won't know my stuff.
yeah.
Right.
He won't know my stuff because, like, just like how Denisi has some of my granddad's stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like my granddad wouldn't teach the full thing to them
Yeah.
because why? Because he knows that there's an heir coming through
Yeah.
and the family coming through. So
Yeah.
same for these guys. Like the Talanoa guy thinks he knows the stuff from Kava and Vili Pushaki and the Lombell stuff. I'm telling you, no. You won't be able to get 100% of it. You've got like 20 or 15% of it. But
Yeah.
then I have the full 100%. And I'm coming with the 100%. And like that's what I've always brought to the poly. Like, you know, that what I have. Like I'm not gonna make up anything that's not mine. I'm New Zealand born. What am I gonna make up? You know, like things about the trees and stuff here.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, yeah, like my granddad and that have left for us
Yep.
to carry. Like, you know, so big props to the person who put the post out.
Yeah.
Because, like, there is a lot of, you know, places of darkness and, you know, places where it can be happy,
Yeah.
places where it can be stressful on the Punake and the families and the kids. And,
So would you agree with him to maybe, you know, they say about stepping away from the chessboard, maybe to remove PolyFest from the education system?
Yeah, I think so. I
It,
think
it could be the thing. That's why you've got those dance academies out there. You know, shout out to Ocean Star Academy. Shout out to Fia Academy. Shout out to Marcela and Lidea Aholele and I can't remember their academy, but their family too, out west.
Yeah.
And shout out to Puke Puke, that's my family. Like, you know, Puke Puke o Tonga, that's our academy.
Absolutely shameless behavior.
So I won't agree or disagree with that question.
Yeah.
Because we need more facts in order to make an informed decision.
And it's a pond that we're dipping into.
Well then, okay.
But I guess that's why they've, like how they said,
Yeah.
they've moved away from it.
Stepped away. Yeah, but also it means that they could give a more in-depth teaching of
With
because
no restriction,
Yeah.
no boundaries,
Yeah.
no
because I feel like what is it? You only get like 5-6 weeks with the kids,
And you
and
don't,
and you can't get to go into depth. Whereas like
you can't really.
yeah,
'Cause,
whereas
like,
when I learned when I went to Amataki Loa,
Yeah.
like I would have I'd have Navai growling us for like
Yeah.
you know 3 months straight, and I'd learn a lot more from
Yeah,
her.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
See, I got involved with this whole Punake issues in 2019. 2019, about 7 years ago, I moved back to New Zealand from Australia after spending 10 years in Australia. Now, one day I got a call from Maloni Tutu'ila. Yeah? And Maloni asked me to come over. He wanted to talk about issues. And it was this. You know, the problems that we're sharing, even the issues that was raised in that post, it was already on the table. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Soane, you know, with all due respect to Maloni Tutu'ila, who has passed away,
You know, legend.
he started. I mean, he's a son of the legend, Penny Tutu'ila, right? And there are names up there like Nau Saimone, of course the Pusiaki and you know the Lomi Piao. Those are legendary composers of yesteryear. Now, Maloni wanted to do something about it.
Yeah.
And there was a few of you guys, the let's say the bloodlines from the
The
Punake.
families.
You came together.
Yeah.
Because I saw some of you guys there.
Yeah, we were there.
But somehow when Maloni passed away, then that collective kind of like crumbled and nothing else happened. So maybe the idea is, why not revive that collective as the Punake, and then talk about the issues, and then approach the so-called committee or the Tongan states as like a collective. That way, you have more chances of succeeding. I mean, if we go at it like one person or individuals, it'll be hard to make changes. So I propose that you, Soane, from the Ha'apunakes, kind of like revive that movement and approach it that way. Of course, us from the community will support, but it's up to the Punakes. I mean, there are those who call themselves Punake, but they're not really Punake. They can always learn. Always learn how to become a proper Punake. You know, again, I did say that just call yourselves a tutor or a teacher. Well, humble yourselves. You got to be humble. But I guess the point is, go back to the collective, the collective of the Punake that the late Maloni Tutuila started, and then move from there. That's what I propose, but sorry. And sorry, Mary, the next topic, you're going to talk a lot more than us. I'll just...
Oh, you reckon?
Yeah.
I have two more PolyFest related questions, and then we can move on.
Yeah.
Finally.
I'm going to strangle you.
But I feel like you're. Do you guys, what's your guys' thoughts on, like, with all these new moves being introduced and all these new influences coming in, and like occasionally you'll see a boy do a move and you'll be like, that's oddly feminine. Or you'll see like a male doing a move, a female doing a move and be like, that's a guy, that's a male move.
Yeah.
Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like,
on the modern moves?
Well,
So modern moves, and then the one that's like one that looks like a girl and one that looks like a boy.
Well, I mean, like, what are your thoughts on, like, the new influences in Faiva whakatonga
I think
that are coming in?
I think there are Faivas that can be put into that. I think like
For entertainment purposes? Yeah.
In the entertainment kind of a thing, and there's different kind of hanigabeni kātoanga. You know what I mean? Like, you want to bring a modernized thing, ka pakoe kātoanga ki tu'i.
Yeah, that's not gonna fly.
If we're in education and we're trying to teach like kids, like hangiga PolyFest.
Yeah.
We want basically everything to be authentic.
Yeah.
Like, because it's teaching kids. They're the future that's gonna be like the kaitiaki of the whanua.
Of the whanua.
Yeah. But they're the ones that are gonna carry it on. So but then you got that opening like with Tauwha Niwa. I'm not from Niwa, and I'm sorry if I say anything about this. I don't want to say it, but like there is a lot of that stuff that's coming through that's really, really modern. I've never seen. My cousin, rest in peace, Kalisto Fa Tawelangi, he was the Punake here for Wesley for years for PolyFest, but he moved to Australia and he passed away. Shout out to the Tawelangi family. But in the academy in Brisbane, the Mamala Academy, and also he tried to stress out keeping it like, just no brass band, just with the slit drum and the,
But here's my question, pushback.
Yeah.
Because we look at Faiva, like these old films from like, back when they first started recording, so even as recent as the 60s and the 70s. Oh,
I think
the 70s, right?
Is it the Taolunga?
There's Taolunga. There's also like and that Taolunga almost looks like a hula.
It does.
Right?
And the legs flicking like this, like tapping out like the Samoans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and you look at how taurunga is performed nowadays,
Yeah.
it's very, not rigid,
Yeah.
but they're not, the movement's a lot more graceful
Yeah.
and, you know, not as hoolery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to
So like, if you're stuck in that old way, then things will never evolve. And that's just kind of my pushback. Like, oh no, we figured it out. But probably like, say in 30, 40 years time, people will look back at our stuff and be like, that doesn't look like Faiva Whakatonga.
there will be.
Yeah, here's my take on it, because I have come across it, experienced it. In the in 2007 or 8, I think, I was in Tonga, and there's a lot of young people that were getting into this dance crazes, like America's Dance School and America's
The break dance.
yeah, like hip hop,
there, yeah.
right? So I decided to create a hybrid, right?
Yeah.
So my point is this: there's a place for everything.
Yeah.
When you talk about culture, let's keep it cultural.
Yeah.
When you talk about contemporary, then you're allowed to do that in that space. So we had something in Tou'a. Of course, I also helped a friend, the late Payakolo. We had a Tongan version of the American Idol. We call it Tongan Idol, right? And it was popular.
Yeah.
Now, the next year we did one called, instead of America's Best Dance School, we call it Tonga's Best Dance School.
Yeah.
And that's when we made some rules that you can incorporate the aspects of the Tongan dance into hip hop. The youth loved it. And actually, it was the youth that was pushing for that, and we allowed it. Now, I got hammered, by some critics saying, hey, you can't do that. And I said, look, there's a space for everything. So again, the answer to the issue or the question is it depends. If we are looking at promoting culture, then let's be careful. Let's not go overboard. On the other hand, if we're doing some purely entertainment, hip hop or American style,
Why not?
then of course, do as you wish, but we keep it separate. So that's kind of like my perspective on it.
My perspective is not really a perspective. It's just what I was taught. I had
That's still a perspective.
but I mean, often I've detached myself from that Faiva life
Since Samataki law.
since Amataki law, and not even now. I honest to God, like Hila Atu was the and the Tulis.
Yeah.
They were the the Punakes then, and I swear Hila Atu wanted
That's
to
a strong family.
and Hila Atu's my auntie, so they'll tell me all the time, right? And I didn't join. Like I just went in langi to'a. But the last time I think I would say I favoured would probably back in Australia when we hofi the hofi fale for Pulela'a.
Oh, let's not talk about that.
No, we're not talking about that. But I mean,
I was there.
and
I taught the Faiva.
yeah, and I got the honours to have them at Taitini, and back at home in Melbourne, because we were in Melbourne, Pase Mata, like rest in peace to Pase Mata. And she literally was like, do it again.
Yeah.
And and it was just like the way my hands should go, why this is like this. And if I, there's movements where it goes like this, right?
Yeah.
And there's a movement that goes out like,
Out.
and she's like, you need to know the difference. It's not,
Yeah.
and how when you taolonga, I was like this, like lazy dancing. That she's a definition of mamahi mea, and just like every other punake I have met, they mamahi what they teach. But yeah, so for me, I think, like Ken said, if there's a time and a place, you read the room, know the setting, understand, and you know where to move. So if you know that you're not the person to teach traditional laka, it's okay to be like, I can't do this. There are people for this, I mean, yeah. But anyways.
Okay.
The other thing that you mentioned about
Yes.
girls doing
Boys move.
actions and boys doing...
Yeah.
Like if there is one side of me that says accept it because of the time that we're in. Like, you know, but there's the other side which just wants it to be just straight thing. Like, you know, authentic. Like my granddad was one of the Punakes that taught girls dances. You know, talanoa. And then I asked him, Papa, how come you don't want to teach me to teach talanoa actions? I said, I'll tell you in time. And then after that, when he was getting older on his deathbed, he goes, do you know the reason why now that I didn't teach you to teach talanoa? And I said, no. And he goes, because every time we go to teach a Faiva, you and your sister has to be in the same place. No matter where you guys are going to be at, you come and help each other. That's how you help your sister.
Oh, okay.
Like, I go whamiri. Whamiri means everything.
Yeah.
So,
and that's Tauhiva and Whakapapa as well. Yeah.
So, my sister knows her place. I know my place. I can't step on those toes. The same way that I've learned off my dad and his sisters. They know their place. Ko whakapapa ia. Like,
so stay in the ngota umu. That's where we stay.
Yo. Sit on the floor.
Sit on the floor. That's what we do. Okay.
Mamahi forever.
This is the last PolyFest related question because we didn't get to touch on this the last time we recorded this.
Did we?
Looks at camera.
Did you?
We didn't cover this. Oh, you look so... Because I'm going to ask you straight up.
Yeah, what?
Has PolyFest become a Kavenga to our people?
You know what? I had a good thought about it, and I think yes and then no. Only because if you have someone that's loto mawhana, loto vek, you can't stop them from being mawhana and wanting to, you know, gift Punake who they've... This has got to be parents and whatever that's seen the hard work done, you know. But then also, again, there's the pressure for some parents that actually has a child that is probably matapule, a.k.a. a prefect or a head boy or head girl. And then, you know, there's just that struggle that no one really talks about, but they, you know, are pressured to be like, we have to do this and that. In my time of PolyFest, there was no such. I've never seen the Fala and the gifting like that. It was all just the token. And during the ako Faiva, it was paired students have to bring mea kai moho for the Punake to take back home and eat. And that's about it. But yeah, I think it's a yes and a no thing.
Yeah, I asked this because you shared that video to the group chat of the family, you know, giving, and I was like, and my initial question was, "Koe whakalea mali?" Like
I thought the same thing. Yeah,
because you're waiting for it to stop, right?
Because you see the baskets and stuff.
And I thought it was a whakalea mali. And then
again, when you look at it, like we Tongans always overdo it. Like you can't stop the mawhana, you know.
MMT, right?
Yeah, but then sometimes
it's over.
It's over.
Kei tuku a apia.
Yeah, because like I would never.
Well, we'll you know, I mean, we'll end up coming back to that as well when we end up talking about our topic after this. Because but we should move on.
Yeah.
And I'll ask these guys another question. I'm just going to ask these guys a whole bunch of questions.
No, go for it.
Should Tou'a be banned?
Wow.
Playing with my heart.
Yes. Do you think Tou'a should be banned?
No.
Nah?
And I don't think anybody, I mean, a singular person or anybody can. Only because it's cultural now, you know. And Pēnā kai ke kamata ia o hi ngā koe social club. Nei ai tau ai nei alo tangoto ko i ngā koe ia na ne whafua whatongia ki he. A ceremonial Kava, you know. So yeah, but I think in that sense, because I know our famous Akanesi, she has put out a petition for it. I've seen it.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not against what she's protesting and stuff, but I think there is a lot of issues that's not commendable
Yeah.
on her part.
Yeah.
But we're not going to talk about her because that's her, you know. Nah. But I do want to say this, that there are different Kava settings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know this will hurt some girls, but this is not directed at the women who are actually suffering these issues, where they're getting harassed, like, you know, sexually harassed and disrespected in the Kava settings. But for me personally, there are women out there who play tribute to why some of these men act the way they do. And that doesn't excuse the men for being the way that they are.
Yeah.
But I think there should be a lot of accountability that needs to be taken on board. And also for women to, you know, understand, like, if you're getting harassed, like, in your right conscience mind, right, you would not sit there and let it carry on.
Yeah.
You'd make a stand and you get up, because in those settings, these men would feel ngali vale
Yeah.
when a daughter gets up and move. You know, I know there were some discussions about, like, having the men around speak up, ta ofi. I'm a Palestinian for a girls' kalapu.
Yeah.
And I speak often
ʻOfa
to the
api.
girls, you know, a moda kalapu ʻOfa ki api.
Ooh.
So we are currently running at kalapu for anga saute.
Yep.
So shout out to the boys there for, you know, actually letting us take that space. And, like, the respect there that's given to us, and even just the daughters that go there, there's no, you know, disrespect
like
or...
brother, sister kind of
yeah, they
bonding.
respect you, and they, you know, they call us their tofa fines.
Yeah.
And when whenga bang and stuff, they're hands-on for us, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's something I've learned from being there.
Yeah.
Whereas I've experienced some other sides of my Kava life and Tou'a life, it's, you know, thing. But, yeah, and just, I think some women, you know, I'm all for the love your body and be comfortable in your skin and stuff, but koe Tou'a, koe me ea ko te whahaia tō urunganga molu
Yeah.
o ko, the way you present yourself is the way you'd be respected.
As a female,
As a female, you
As a
know.
lady.
Oh, yeah.
Tongan woman.
And, you know, I know fathers out there wouldn't want their daughter to go
I
sit
know.
and Tou'a with their half, you know, tops and stuff like that. Like, no disrespect. Look, I love Sissy Boo. You do you, but just know your settings
Yeah.
and the space that you're in. Yeah.
I think to me, Tou'a,
What's the importance of Tou'a?
I just want to say shout out to the Tou'as from the 80s, from the 90s, when I was a little kid.
The vintage Tou'as.
Because my aunties were Tou'as back then.
their
When they came from Tonga, straight up, bro. Monday to Saturday.
Mo si taila so si
Yo, and remember back those old school rolls that used to...
and the blonde frosted.
How about the old school... anyways, we're getting off topic. Yeah, but shout out to the old school aunties that would... When they came from Tonga, I remember 89, 90, 91, 93, 94, 95, all the way. There was no problems then.
Or maybe they didn't talk about it.
Yeah, maybe they didn't talk about it back then.
And
Or maybe-
like, you were young then.
Yeah.
Soane.
No, I was in the thing, but maybe.
What?
Eka foi hao koe, kai Tonga koe me Tonga ki Nosi Lani. Foi maru koe ia, moi foi fe apa aki koe, ai foi everyone
I agree to disagree.
that came, they stayed like that. There was no, and plus, it was in a house. It wasn't in a...
Respectfully, right? Respectfully, like, I think I'm on Mele's side on this.
You know?
Because, like, if you, this kind of a sidetrack here, like, you look back with that sort of mindset, you'll be like, oh, mental health wasn't a thing. Our people weren't depressed.
Yeah, true, because we
Right.
didn't know about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
so I feel like, I think that's always been like
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
but swept under the rug. Just
Yes.
like I'm pretty sure some churches.
Okufakama.
Yeah.
But I think that we need to understand the history of it.
Yes, and the history is it was
Like-
black and white, blank.
The
It was
history of
a,
it wasn't a girl. It was a guy. The Tou'a Tongan line, there was a guy.
yes.
Do you guys have like a boy Tou'a at your whaikawa?
No.
The doggy girl beia, like when it came. Go Kini.
Do you want to talk?
I'll
Just
Tou'a.
wanna.
Okay.
See,
Meet my future ex.
I think,
ex-wife.
guys, I think, in order to fully understand the issue of the Tou'a,
Yeah.
we have to go back to the story of Kava.
Yeah.
And especially for the benefit of any non-Tongan viewer, they probably won't understand what we're talking about, the Tou'a. No? So the story of Kava goes back to the island of Eweki. And if I may, I also have a direct connection to Eweki. And sometimes it's only appropriate to share that connection before you get into the story from that particular village. And again, see, I'm a descendant of Nani Se Kepa. She is a daughter of Tu'itufu from Eweki. Now, Nani Se Kepa married Uhi Ke Moi Atu Po'uri Kai Eva of Kolomatua. And I'm a descendant of Uhi and Nani Se Kepa, the daughter of Tu'itufu. Hence, I think that I'm okay to tell the story of Fevanga and Fefafa and their daughter Kava. Now, I won't go too deep into that, but we know the story. You mentioned the Tu'itonga and the sacrifice that the couple made, in their tauhiwa, and mamahi'i mea, and whakaapa-apa, to the king. Again, those are the four golden sash values, lototo, etc. So out of that sacrifice grew a plant, and they decided to name that plant after their daughter Kava. So hence that plant became Kava or Kava. Now a second plant grew out of that plot, and that was a sugar cane, to. So Kava and to. Hence the word Tou'a originated from the to. So to is sugar cane. U'a is pretty much that Tongan word for appetite, like an appetizer. So hence to u'a. Sugar cane, appetite. It's like an appetizer or a sweetener, right? Because let's be real. A lot of outsiders drink kava,
Yeah.
and they claim that it tastes like muddy water, right? It's not easy to drink.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it.
Yeah.
It's not like Pepsi Max,
Yeah.
Even though I'm old school, but
Your
I've decided to
favorite
go.
drink,
Sponsor us, Pepsi.
Yeah. But anyways, it's hard to drink.
Yeah.
And hence the origin of the word Tou'a, is from to meaning sugarcane, u'a meaning the appetite. Of course, there has been cultural or historical elements to it, of the ceremonial, and at the top of the pyramid is the taumafa kava,
Yeah.
and that's for the installation of the tu'i, either tu'i Tonga, tu'i Hatakalawa, or even with the tu'i Kanukupolu. But with the tu'i Kanukupolu, the third dynasty, it's been adapted to what we have now. It was different from the old tu'i Tonga kama ceremony. But anyways, I believe that it has a place in society. I remember fronting a petition to the Australian Parliament because they tried to have an outright ban on kava. So I came out and said, no, say no to kava ban. I found a quote by the late Professor Futahelu. And that said, Kava ceremony is the centerpiece of our Tongan culture.
Yep.
Repeat. The Kava ceremony is the centerpiece of our Tongan culture.
Yeah.
And that's how important it is. Yeah? There is a significance of the Tou'a. It's part of that Kava culture. Now, nobody has the right to ban the Tou'a. Huh? In saying that, I totally agree with those that want to stop the abuse.
Yeah.
And of course, Mele, you touch on those abuse that is happening in the social circles, right? There's a difference. There's a difference between the ceremonial kava, even like the tamafa kava down to the what they call kava o gospeli.
Yep.
And again, that's the so-called kava of the gospel. That tradition has been 200 years in the making.
Yeah.
Like this year, 2026, there will be a commemoration in June, July. And of course, it's headed by the Wesleyan Church, but it's for everyone. Everyone that is a Christian, we commemorate 200 years of Christianity coming to Tonga. Now,
Jesus
I
coming to Tonga.
I make an argument that the official time that we accepted Christianity was the time that Alea Motu'a and the people of Kolomotu'a officially held a kava ceremony for the missionaries, John Thomas, and Hutchinson. And that happened in 1826, 200 years ago. And again, they had a Tou'a then. Yeah? That's the tradition that's been carried on. And every Sunday, that tradition happens in a lot of the Wesleyan churches. There has to be a kava a gospeli or kava of the gospel.
Yeah.
And they do that with the whoever is the tangata malanga.
Tangata malanga. O whiwhine
O whiwhine malanga.
Yep.
And then they go into the church and start with the church service. So it is important. And again, I totally do not support a call or a petition to ban the Tou'a. Nobody can ban it. That's the fact. No? Let's work on the issues of the abuse. Let's stop the abuse because nobody agrees with the abuse.
Yeah.
But not
But I
mess
think-
with the culture.
Just to add on, but I think since we're here and talking about this issue, I just want to reach out to anyone that's drinking kava and stuff and you're a man and you're a male and if you're hearing these things, say something. If you're a person that does ba'o and take it overboard, where you're disrespecting a Tou'a, stop, because you wouldn't like it if somebody did that to your sister or your daughter or just anyone female in your family. Let's start working together to make these things,
Safer.
stop it, and safer. And the spaces that are there in the Kava spaces are safer for everybody.
Yeah.
And especially our girls, and especially where you have girls that are drinking Kava now,
Oh.
And not just that, respect your woman at home if you've got one. You don't be out here doing stuff that you shouldn't be doing.
Yes,
so.
So off it.
That's part of it. And just another thing, be mindful. Part of the reason why most girls here are adulting is because that's the only, living means they can.
It's their means to help their families. Here and in Tonga. But props to the daughters,
props to the tough ones.
to the tough, the survivor.
Yeah, you're looking at one of them. Yeah.
Can I acknowledge
What's up?
Can I acknowledge the great work that ʻOfa Guttenbeil-Likiliki
Yes.
is doing in Tonga?
Yes.
Please.
You know, she's heading the WCCC, which is the Women and Children's Crisis Center. She's doing wonderful works in Tonga
definitely
to
is.
protect women from the
abuse.
abuse, right?
Yeah.
Including protect the Tou'a from the abuse that's happening.
Yeah.
And I know there has been some negative comments about the work that she's doing, but hey, I
doesn't faze her.
take my hat off to ʻOfa
Yeah.
Guttenbeil-Likiliki for the great work that you're doing in Tonga. Malo apito ʻOfa ai ngau e lahi.
Yeah.
Can I just circle back before we move on to the next topic? Because some people might be listening and be like, why you guys doing Kava for the gospel, the person who's preaching the tangata o the whiwhine malanga? And I want people to understand that Kava in itself is a metaphor for the whanua, right? Before the king receives his kava, before the nōpele o ku whakanofo, or before the graduate receives
Yes.
their kava, or before the wife receives her kava,
Oh, Matapule
the
that receives his
Matapule.
kafa.
receives his kafa, the words that the Matapule says is koe whanua ena,
Yeah.
ma'oena.
Yeah.
That essentially means there is the land,
Yes.
it's yours, and it's up to you to work the land and to look after it.
And then they fall.
Yeah, and then they fall.
Fall e
and
kafa.
then-
Alo.
Do the full?
Like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isoa, in Tonga, I grew up in Tonga and then moved here when I was 11. But I can still remember the old man having kava. And when you question them, the answer is this: "Koe puke whanua pe,"
Yep.
Yo,
holding
that's
on to the land.
Holding the land.
Yeah.
Koe puke whanua pe. And again, good on you for bringing that up. It's the land. We're here in Aotearoa, New Zealand.
Yeah.
And the tangata whenua, the people of the land. Similarly, we're Polynesians and we have similar traditions and customs.
It's like we all came from the same place.
We are Polynesians. We're all one family.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
We'll come
yeah.
from Adam and Eve.
just me personally, yeah. I don't think that I don't think Tou'a should be banned, but I think we should ban all the predators. And if you know anyone who's doing all that naughty
stop it.
behavior, tell them to stop, or
get a
better
party.
yet,
Like-
get out.
Yeah.
Giving
Or
them
tell the
left hook.
cops.
Yeah. The left party.
We don't condone violence here,
Just
unless you're doing
and if
that
a
sort of
Tou'a's
stuff.
getting harassed and you know the person that's harassing you, go tell the wife. Like, just do
Tell him.
tell him. Your husband.
Do something. Do something.
Do something
I
about
mean,
it.
if no
Don't
one
be a
else is doing
bystander.
it, do that. Be a wreck it.
Yeah.
Kill it for them.
It's important to touch on the systems.
Yeah.
All kalapus, even the social clubs, they should have a system in place,
Yeah.
like a president and a committee. Some people, someone that we can, rely on to let's say implement
Yeah.
rules. Have rules that hey, midnight done.
No,
Don't drink kava until 6 o'clock in the morning.
I mean, they already do the, what is it? As soon as it hits midnight, no more hiwakakala, midnight on a Sunday.
Yeah.
But
If there is a system in place, then there's less chances of the abuse happening.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
No? And
I have
again,
a
I
system in
have
place.
known of some presidents, literally putting someone's lights out because they're abusing the
Yes.
Tou'a. So I take my hat off to the old school discipline.
What's-
Play by the rules or else kiss the floor.
What's your system that you have in place
I-
The
before we
president.
move on?
Yeah. I'm the president of my
The president of the Galabo.
Can you guys believe that?
El Presidente.
Yo.
These guys, can I get patched? Or?
Yeah. Anyway, sorry guys. I've told the girls, if you go and serve at a place or in Kava somewhere and you feel like you're not safe or you feel like you're being disrespected, leave. You're not obligated to stay.
Yep.
If you're there to Tou'a and get money, but you feel like you're not, getting treated fairly, who cares about the money? Get up and go. Because you're standing up for yourself as a whiwhine Tonga, and you're, disabling all these behaviours to carry on. And just touching base on what Kennedy said, I've seen it happen, where this is not a kalapo, it's just Kava. And I know everybody's aware of Kava based in Aotearoa.
Yo, on the road.
And the owner there,
KFC. Yo.
he's the CEO. I don't want to say names because I don't want to,
Yeah.
It's my uncle.
Oh yeah, your uncle?
He's my
Well,
friend too.
yeah.
Good man. He's a good man.
He's a good man.
Yeah,
And we
from Vava'u,
love
by the
him.
way. Vava'u represent.
And we love
Pepe
him.
Loloya.
Oh, okay then. But we love him. We love him because he has created that safe space for us there.
Yeah.
When we started going there, because I was probably like one of the main girls that would always just go there and Kava. There was Nella Moa's sister too. It was mainly us two, back and back, like drinking Kava there. He made sure that the men there knew not to, do some dumbass stuff, but couldn't do that to me or Nella Moa's sister because,
Respect.
whatever breed, what different breed, respect. I just wanted to say that because you're emphasizing on Vava'u.
I know he's a good man, and I admire his hard works also within the
Yeah,
business
he's a good
community.
man.
He's a businessman.
Shout out to Punake.
VV.
But yeah, just the bars that he set there, the respect that he made sure everybody had, and you'd come across a few,
Yeah.
but
That's a safe place.
Yeah.
The Kava bar.
yes,
Like I've been there a few times.
he slapped a few people,
Yeah. I've got an
Go to
uncle there
place.
that's I think he's like the president of the Bear Club.
yes, and
So-
he's no muck around.
One word, bro.
Yep, and he's a former MMT. Yeah. If you didn't know, Mate Ma'atonga.
Yo.
Respect.
Yo.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
All right. Let's move on, eh?
yes, please.
All right.
VV.
All right. Let's talk about church.
Oh man,
Just another light and breezy.
I want to leave now, so you guys can.
I feel like this is not safe.
Because what? We're pretty much all Wesleyana here, right?
Yes.
I'm tupu e Wesiliana.
Oh,
I
you're-
just don't go to. Well,
Why,
I'm
do you
just.
hate us?
No. I go to a different church.
Okay. Still, we pray to the same Jesus.
Yes,
Yo.
of course.
The same Caucasian
Yo.
Jesus. Yes.
No, my Jesus is black.
The real Jesus. Oh, praise.
And his name's Yeshua.
Yeshua. Very good. Shout out to you. Yeshua. Okay. So most Tongan churches most Tongan churches have a what it is, Mary.
I admire your free thinking, Mary. Good on you. I'm a free thinker too. Yeah.
That's it.
I'm a free
And
thinker
I'm a
too.
bit agnostic, by the way, so I understand where you're coming from.
I'm a little bit unfiltered and sometimes I don't care.
I like Optimus Prime.
Okay then.
Roll out.
Okay. So
Sidetracking.
most churches have a Misinale, right? And what are the origins of Misinale and what does it mean?
Man. Because from like I said, I'm Wesleyan now reborn. And I was and every time I hear Misinale, the word Misinale is is the thing similar to the Catholics, which is God on ʻOfa.
God on the Misinale.
Yeah. But that's
The main
that's-
church fundraiser.
yeah, that's they do it once a year, I think. Yeah, when I hear that Misinale, it's basically the same thing for me. Yeah. And it means, putting what we can in for the church.
Yeah. It's like
Is it?
tithing
Yeah.
for some people
Yeah.
or like Misinale literally translates
Translatable.
to missionary, right? Ken?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. Yep, it is the transliteration of the English word missionary. Misinale. But the application somehow contradicts the meaning, right?
Yeah.
Because Misinale, let's say from a Wesleyan perspective, it's that donation or the, you know, I grew up as a Mormon, and we call it tithing. Yeah, and if you know your Bible, it's in the book of Malachi. When you donate, make sure that the left hand does not know what the right hand is giving.
Yeah.
So the concept is you donate in secret,
Yeah.
right? But now with a Misinale, it's open, right? We call out Isoa and family donating 10,000. Yeah, hallelujah.
Yeah.
It's against the teachings
Of the
of
Bible.
the gospel, but however, it's I guess some claim that it's Tongan tradition.
Is it?
I don't know. It depends. But again, you know, I don't know if you know this, but in Tonga, I've been approached by, let's say, non-Tongans, right? And they say, hey, Kennedy, what things should we be careful about? Huh? So I kind of like give them the traditional or the answer, which is this: never talk about the royal family, and never talk about religion or the church.
Yeah.
So don't go against the royal family, don't go against the church, and you'll be fine. So they say, oh, that's cool. There's only 2 rules in Tonga. Yep. And again, see, guys, we're talking about the church, and hence I was just gonna walk.
Nah, run it straight. Run it straight.
But look, it is a problem. You know, some see it as a problem, some don't. You know, I'm of the view that you cannot just buy your way into heaven.
Yes.
Some people think that the more they donate, the better chances they have of going to heaven.
Right.
I totally disagree with that thinking. Yep. And again, I'm left field in a lot of things.
Yeah.
And you know, that's why people sometimes don't like me, because I always go against the status quo. But again, that's the Robin Hood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because leading on from this, right? Katoanga tuku mo'ui is also another way to say it,
That's it. Yeah.
right? Tuku mo'ui. What does it? Give your life. Pretty much what you're doing. Shout out to all those people who want to give their life.
Yeah.
I'm not. Anyway, but yeah, with
I-
the... Huh?
Sorry, yeah.
No.
Go, you go.
With the rising costs of living and ongoing conflicts
Petrol.
overseas, right? Yes.
Iran.
Should our church leaders encourage people to give less or give what they can
Yeah.
and not put so much pressure
On the families?
on the families?
Well, I think so, yes.
Yeah.
But like in saying that, you'd have church goers that believe God provides, you know? Like
My parents are those people.
yeah, just like my parents, and I grew up just seeing them like that, especially my mom, you know. And she'd be like, "Koe habe milk mao, ka pau koe taha mano, koe toko nake e ke, e awea," you know. I applaud my mom for that in a way where it's like this. There's a story in the Bible with Matthew, and I think it is Matthew. Sorry, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna lie, but it's a story about the man, this young guy. He comes to Jesus, right? And he's like, "Oh, what shall I do to, gain eternal life?" And then he's back and forth with Jesus, and Jesus goes, "Follow the commandments." And then he's like, "Oh, but I do since my youth, blah blah blah, this and that." Move forward. Jesus goes, "Go and sell your riches, and give it to the poor,
Yeah.
and follow me."
Yeah.
He couldn't take that, because he couldn't let that, that hurt him.
The
So
earthly,
so he turned around and walked. And I think like aligning that with Misinale, if you give with all your heart. But if like this is to families, like your whaiwhekau, that's just the amount they're giving you. There might be pressure and stuff, but that is up to the family to decide. you're not going to let the church dictate what is going to come out of your pocket. So I think, in other words, let how people see you and, you know, take control of actually what you can give,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, because the way that,
It's
well, where's Eliana
complicated
do
for
it,
me.
right? And I'm pretty sure that most churches that do a Misinale do this too, is that they have what's called a whakaamu.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, this is a set amount that we're going to aim to fundraise this year, and anything over that is great, right?
And
then,
then ensures.
yeah,
right?
and then they divide it up per family and be like, oh, say each family is aiming for like 3,600, a married couple.
Yeah.
That's it for my church.
Yeah.
Right? And a widow is say like 1,000 or something, like it's something less.
Yeah.
Right? Some families can't do that because of the rising cost of living.
Definitely.
Right? And so with all of that said, should our Tongan churches, and I'm speaking specifically for the Wesleyana church,
Yeah.
and you know what, all good, come for me. It is what it is.
Run it.
Like,
Got your back.
should we be more proactive in the community? Like, say, open up a food bank, social services, you know, kind of like how
Yes.
the Metotisi have Siaola and
I've
stuff
got
like
heaps,
that,
bro.
right? Like,
Is it
should we?
Someone and something else, do they? Yeah. To me, they should.
Yeah.
Because of
Hardship.
struggling families.
Yeah. And like, sorry, Soane,
Yeah.
just what you're saying, struggling families, do they consider like the families that are over, who are actually contributing
Yes.
and making these, you know,
Misinale.
these misinales? Do they consider them like, how are they living? You know, how are they surviving? Like, what do they have food after the misinale? You know, like, I know it's like some people don't want to be like, you know, but I mean, you don't gotta wait. You don't gotta wait for them to ask. It's just like, hey,
Do it. Kind of well.
yeah,
I can share. Let's say there's a contrast. Well, for an example, I grew up as a Mormon, and then since 2011, I've been a Wesleyan. But in my times as a Mormon, I pretty much, believed in the so-called tithing, which I gave 10% of my earnings to the church, right? So every Sunday, I put 10% of my wages in an envelope and give it to my son or my wife, and they take it to church. Sometimes I'm not the regular church goer, but I did believe in tithing. Yeah? Until 2011, when I had the epiphany that it's not the money. You can't buy your way to heaven, and hence, even though as I am a Wesleyan, but I'm a different kind of Wesleyan. When the Misinale time comes along, I only give what I can afford, because my religion is different nowadays. There's a story in the book of John, chapter 4, verses 19 to 26, and there's the story about the Samaritan woman by the well of Jacob having that conversation with Jesus. So the woman says to Jesus, "Oh, our ancestors prayed in the mountains, and you, the Jews, claim that Jerusalem is the place of worship. So what do you say, Jesus?" So Jesus answers the woman along the lines of, there will come a time, and it is now. No more praying in the mountains or even in Jerusalem, but in spirit and in truth. See, that's the epiphany there. So once I grasped the true meaning of that, I've been living my life with that in spirit and in truth. I don't have to wait until the Misinale time to give.
Together. Yeah.
I give daily.
Yeah.
7 days a week, 24/7, 365. Whenever I have the opportunity to help someone who's in need, I just do it. And that is the story of the Robin Hood, right? That's the essence of the Robin Hood. Just help the poor. Of course, I have friends and know people from high places. but yet I choose to mingle with the poor people, and that's my religion. Help, even with the overstayers.
That's
See,
your missionary.
Yes. You know, and again, you talked about the need for social service. I've been pushing for that idea or for that concept to happen within the Wesleyan Church.
Yep.
And there has been some let's say, you know, it's hard for them to change.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes the other progressive churches just move with the times.
Yeah.
But I find that the Wesleyans, it's a bit hard
Yeah.
to progress. And there are reasons for that. But again, I totally agree that there should be a social service by the Wesleyan Church. You know,
And
credits to Siaola.
Yeah.
Well done.
yeah.
Yeah?
And just for anyone else who's listening, it's not like the mainline Wesleyan Church. It's the Free Wesleyan Church. Sa'utata, FWC, those people. Yeah. Sio mai. It's okay. Koe mau ʻofa e ni a moutou lok whia mau ke whae le ni taha. He? We should have a food bank.
I want to leave now.
You trap. You
Need
trap.
it, he? Bro, koe
Yeah.
mai fo whono. Maho e o te pile and all of that stuff. He whai koe tau ukatoanga, but literally for 90%, 80% of the year, it's like, tau kai lai se pe, tau kai tausi pe. And, you know, it is all right, but you hear about all these stories about these $1 million Misinale.
And like, yeah.
Crazy.
It's just really.
What the hono ki ka kai vale
I want to share something though, but like, I've never experienced that. Like, to hear to talk about, too much, like, you know, I've never. I go. I'm born and raised. United Church of Tonga, so we're called the Seasi Whakatahataha
Yo.
or Tonga in New Zealand, and I've never experienced that. Like, they do give you like a talanoa or like what were you saying? Whakaamo.
Yeah.
And they like say, hey, your church, whaamo back and we'll, you know, whatever. Then the whaiwhekau relays that back to me. But every single whaiwhekau we've had has said these things. Koe ha pe homo ʻofa. Tali me mo whawheta, you know?
Yep.
And I've never, you know, seen... I mean, you know, I give it up to some of my church members who are loto mawhana and they're veke, like, you know, thought, that's, love that. But then you do have the families that are... can't afford it. And I've seen families, and my family too, they were at a stage where we were just like, koe ki tola pe te au mao.
Yep.
But, you know, seeing my mum pray over it and be like, koe mea pe ni mao, you know.
Yeah. There's families out there that like that
And
are
we never
on,
get judged for it though.
that are on the beanie.
Yeah.
Just on the beanie. And
Shout out to my
depending-
church.
I mean, depending on that,
UCT.
like, for Misinale,
Yeah.
what's the benefit?
Bro, and sometimes they rock up or they're falling too.
Yo,
Yeah.
but I mean, having those centers, if it's available,
Yeah.
that can help families like that.
Yeah, because like I'm
Like,
willing to bet there's people in our siasi who are sleeping in their cars.
Yeah.
And there's people that don't come to church
Yeah.
Because they're...
because they can't afford to go that far.
Yeah,
Yeah.
now mana.
Yeah, and then Ma comes into it and can't afford it.
Mate pe ai tau moa ia ai ngā ue whakamisinale mo o ni. Koe,
Yeah.
Straight.
you know,
Yeah.
ke mo ui the spirit of
Yeah.
the soul in the church and believing in Christ.
Now, 3 words. God is love.
Yes.
Right?
Yo.
Yeah.
Amen to that.
So
Not money. Not money. So
not
it's-
money.
Yeah.
So but also like the cool thing about this is that like you don't pay tax, church. Well, except for income tax.
GST.
But like they pay GST. But bro, I'm donating my money and I can get a third of it back every
I heard
year.
about that, bro.
Do it, bro. Do it. You like, bro. That's why all the rich millionaires do it, man. They donate to these charities.
Yep.
They
Isoa
can-
Income Tax Act amends in 2007. Yep. you can claim as much as you can. There's no more cap. You know,
Yeah.
in the olden days, there was a cap and you could split it between husband and wife, etc. But now the ruling is you only have 4 years,
Yeah.
right? And my point is this, and it is good for us to know,
You guys to take note.
that over $250 million
Yeah.
goes unclaimed every year. $250 million. So in 4 years, that's over $1 billion, you know, billion with a B. $1 billion. People don't claim. So if you don't claim it, and after the 4 years, you lose it for good. You lose it and you will never be able to get it back. And
So
where
where
does
does
it
that
go?
money go? Yeah.
It goes to the government, and the government does as they wish with that money. Right? And again, there is unclaimed money, even let's say for tax refunds. It's sitting there, and people don't bother to check with the IRD to see if IRD owes them
owes them
money.
money.
And
Yeah.
again, with the donation tax credits, I mean, see, next week is the beginning of the new financial year.
Yo. I was gonna say.
2026, 2027. Starts on the 1st of April to the end of March. So again, it's time to claim your donation tax credits. You know, if you've donated to an organization which is a donee approved
charity,
organization,
yep.
in Australia they call it the DGR status, which is deductible gift recipient status. And it's similar to New Zealand. You're entitled to it, so claim it.
Claim it.
It helps you.
Yeah.
You know, I've had some Tongan people say, no, we don't want to claim it because when we give, we don't want to, we don't want to
No.
get anything back.
But
This
what
is
if that's
a
God giving
government
back?
legislation to entitle the person who's doing the donating
Yeah.
to the Misinale or Bahangafulu to claim 1/3 of it back. So you mentioned the $10,000 of that donation. You can claim back 1/3 of that, which is $3,333.33. You get that back. That's a whole third. Why
So-
not
Because
apply for it to get it back?
here's my thought on it, right? Say if I gift 3,000,
Yeah.
right, and I stick to the biblical 10%, 3,000 is what I can afford. Hey, 3,000, I give that, and then I get back 1,000, right? But I get that 1,000, and I still have my 3 because it's 10%. That year, the following year, I can give 4, and then I get back 1/3 of that 4, and then it just multiplies
Compound.
like that. It compounds like that every year, which means I can give more. So some people will be thinking, oh, I have to fill out this form and whatnot. Ka pau e tu pau pe a e te whoakia ki ta ia. He? And then you just keep giving that same amount,
And-
but it gives off the illusion that you're giving more. You are giving more, but you're getting back more.
Yeah.
I think that's good for our people to know.
I didn't
You
know
know?
about that.
Thank you, Kennedy.
That's a smart way to look at it,
Isoa,
Isoa.
yeah.
I like that thinking. And again, you're thinking outside of the box, which is good. We need to think outside of the box. I'm
Yeah.
talking like this because I used to work for the IRD. I used to be a taxman.
Don't stop.
You know?
Stop
That's why
there.
they call me the Robin Hood.
Stop there.
Take from the rich, give to the poor. Take from the government, give to the people.
Back to the people.
I'll say no more.
Mari,
Okay, so yeah, again, and then let's move on to our final topic of the evening and the wonderful banner you have there behind you, Ken, and the amazing. Oh, look at that!
Pacific
You're on it
Justice.
too. You're on it. You're right there.
Hood there.
Robin Hood, right? And give us a little bit of background on Pacific Justice and the amazing work that you guys have been doing lately.
Yeah, Pacific Justice is a movement started by former MP ʻOfa Anai. And the petition that we've presented at Parliament, that was on the 11th of February, is to request that the New Zealand Parliament or government treat us Pacific peoples like the 61 other countries who are allowed to just turn up at the Auckland airport and they're
Get a
given they're given a stamp, a 3-month visiting visa, automatically. So the question is this: you're doing this to 61 nations, and some of those nations are way out there in the Middle East, and they're
don't
not
even come
even.
here.
Yep, they're not even. I mean, see, Christopher Luxon on the recent trip to Samoa and Tonga. In Samoa, he was given a Matai title, right?
Okay.
And then he says that that Samoa and Tonga is a family of New Zealand. Family.
Rubbish.
Yeah? That's, for him to claim that we are family and then still shut the door on us and make us jump through the loops and apply, the fees, right?
Yep.
They've decided to knock off like $55 or.
That's rubbish.
That's not what we're asking for. That's like treating us like coconuts. They did that in the 70s, the dawn rates.
Yep.
The dawn
You know,
rates.
and yet they're still treating
Which
us
is very
like
traumatizing,
coconuts
Luxon.
today. So I'm thankful that someone is brave enough, ʻOfa Anai,
Yeah.
to go against that status quo and say, government, no, we should be able to be treated fairly. Pacific justice. So it's about justice. We're not asking for free visa. Some people get it wrong. We're asking for visa on arrival. Free visa is like Australians, right?
Yeah.
They just come in. Free visa is for countries in the Pacific like the Cook Islands, Niue, and Tokelau.
Yes, and Tokelau.
Yeah, they just come through because of that, international agreements between countries. See, the 61 countries that are allowed to just rock up, we are not part of the 61 countries. Even like Mexicans or Mexico is allowed to come in, Saudi Arabia. Some of those nations have a bad history of human rights abuse. And yet they can come. How about us Polynesians? Because if you go back, New Zealand is part of Polynesia.
Yep.
And back in the days, we did not have to pay for a visa to come to New Zealand, right? We used to be able to just come and go as we wish. And guess what? Colonization came, boxed us up, gave us flags, and colonized most of the Pacific. And let's be thankful, guys. There's only 2 countries in the whole of the Pacific that were never colonized by the West or the East. Huh? 1, Japan, right? And 2, Tonga, the Kingdom of Tonga. Let's be proud of that. We have leaders nowadays that are sucking up to New Zealand politics and politicians, right? And I'll have to call it out. As a political activist, I tell it like it is, and people don't like it. Like, give you an example. Last week, I met with the Tongan Prime Minister.
Yep.
What's his name again?
Guttenbeil-Likiliki.
Okay.
I met with Whakawhanua on Monday, right? And he agreed, or he said that he will support Pacific justice. We just need to give him the copy of the letter from the Prime Minister of Samoa and the Prime Minister of Fiji. Because they were first. Samoa was first to support. Fiji was second. Now, where is Tonga? So that was the meeting on Monday. The next day on Tuesday, Christopher Luxon and the New Zealand delegation turned up, and there was a press conference, even though they shut me out from getting in there because how the Robin Hood rose. I'll just tell it like it is, and they see that as a threat because they don't want people to really have questions that is outside of the box. So that press conference on Tuesday, the Tongan Prime Minister backflipped on what we agreed to or what he promised on Monday.
Mate.
On Tuesday he said, well, we just have to stay out of the New Zealand politics. It's New Zealand's affairs, is their domestic affairs, and we Tonga just have to go with what They,
In other words,
they,
they're just
yeah.
these
So
leaders just being
again,
muppets.
you know, I think back on the time in 1853 when King Tou'a I visited New Zealand and Australia and saw the mistreatment of the indigenous peoples, and he promised himself, I'm not going to let that happen in Tonga. See, that's the spirit of the Constitution of 1875. Nowadays, we have leaders who do not, you know, love the people.
Stand for it.
They're
Yeah.
controlled like this.
What if
On the street.
what if the Tongan Prime Minister just wanted the letters so he could just copy and paste?
You know, it is, you know, I am upset,
Yeah.
you know, and so is my team.
Yeah.
And I don't, you know,
So it would've been a golden
look,
opportunity. right there.
I feel sorry
Yeah.
that Samoa and Fiji,
Te ora.
they're doing the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
So should this come through, yeah, o koe tau lea tonga te he koe mawhana he penuki he. So let me remind all the Tongans out there, te tau mawhana tau tolu he penuki he, because the government of Samoa and the government of Fiji have supported this from the beginning,
Yeah.
and yet Tonga is still sitting on the fence and not supporting us. So I do apologize. You know, I'm sounding a bit
Don't
harsh.
apologize.
But look, the Robin Hood tells it like it is.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not,
Because I want to say, Kennedy, big ups to you and the team.
Yeah.
Like, that's some deep as conversation, and I'm pretty sure it won't end here. We're going to keep on. And, like, honestly, like, if you're watching, follow, like, support, because,
Keep pressing on.
yeah,
It's
keep
important
going.
work.
Look, this is good movement for our Pacific Islanders, especially for us Tongans. And if our leaders are not going to do anything about it, then we got to get up and do something. So, yeah.
Thanks, Ken.
And
Thank you, Robin Hood. All the
Yeah.
So
amazing work you
Robin
do.
Hood.
thanks, guys.
can I just say something? One more.
Cool.
Okay. I just want to make a shout out.
shout-outs.
Yeah, to the owner of this brand. His name is Fearless Striker. You can find him on all platforms. And yeah, this is a new brand to everybody in Hahake and all Tongans. You know, this is
Halatahi.
yeah, halatahi na Wutaka City. So Fearless Striker is the brand, and he's also doing a giveaway, a free giveaway for everybody that has purchased. You've made 1,000 purchases for this doko. And yeah, another one is just sharing out there for everybody who needs support and help. You have a small business called Modern Consultants. You know, get at us. We'll give you the details, help those who are overstaying and want to apply for visas such. Yeah, that's all. Sorry. Thank you.
Cool.
Can I make a shout out to everyone who thought I died on my birthday?
What?
Yo.
Did you see my post?
Yeah.
Who the hell?
Did you see my post?
Yeah, I did, but I thought that was just you being, you know.
Keep jokey, babe. Keep jokey. I'm not going anywhere, bro.
Yo.
Yeah, that's me.
Ken?
Yeah, look, I'm not in a habit of making shout outs, so it's kind of like an old school tradition.
Yeah.
However, there's something that I want to say before this the end of this
So,
podcast, episode 2, and that is last night I came across some sad news. Sad news, and I'm talking about the spirit of Mate Ma'atonga.
yo.
And I'm talking about none other than Eliesa Katoa.
Oh,
See, last night, Craig Bellamy, who is the head coach for the Melbourne Storm,
yeah.
had to admit for the very first time that he doesn't think that Eliesa will be able to play NRL
Ever.
again. So again, that is something that even last night I was thinking about it. Man, this is sad.
Yeah.
This is sad news. So it's this is more of like a call out. Normally I don't run the Tongan flag.
Yeah.
When it's Mate Ma'atonga, my flag is in sight here. I'm not running the flags like others, you know. But I do support 100%, you know. Even I went out to Brisbane. I went out to Brisbane to watch the Mate Tonga versus Tou'a Samoa.
Yeah.
I also took my son to Eden Park. The very game that Eliesa Katoa received his head injuries. You know, and again, my heart goes out to Eliesa Katoa and the family.
Yep.
And I
The
think
whātua.
we as Mate Tonga supporters should do something about it. And you know, what more can we do besides, of course, the praying?
Yeah.
You know, imagine if we Tongans all come together and donate $1 per year, just $1. That is very achievable, right? We're able to help.
The church.
You know, how about we just give $1 to this worthy cause? You know, maybe so on the next episode, I may propose a strategy because again, I'm always thinking outside of the box and always wanting to fight for those who need our help. Eh?
No,
they're for
definitely. Yeah.
Malo abito, Soa and
Robin Hood.
Isoa and Mary. Looking forward to the next episode and back to you, Soane. Malo
Just to thank you, Kennedy. Just to wrap up things, shout out to everyone that was in the PolyFest this year, to all the families and all the schools that participated. Everything else.
Shout out to Farani and
Plus X4 Creative.
Yeah.
Yo.
Whawhetai tele lava.
Yo.
Salome.
and Salome. Shout out to the crew.
Yo.
Up the wires.
Episode 2.
ʻOfa, we'll see you next time, episode 3.
Yeah.
Fala Talks.
Fala Talks, we out.
Whakamore more pea kataki koe anga pe iau mamani e tau whailoto karia ki a tamai tokanga i e moto o a fofonaki i e ko situ ko a tonga ki langi